William Bonin, the highway killer, etched his name into American crime history with a spree of murders along California highways. Bonin claimed the lives of at least 21 young men and boys, leaving an indelible mark on the community. In the late 1970s and early 1980s, Bonin's name became synonymous with fear. His modus operandi involved luring victims into his vehicle, only to meet a gruesome end. The horror of his deeds cast a shadow over Southern California. This essay delves into Bonin's life, his crimes, and the relentless pursuit by law enforcement that brought him to justice. William George Bonin was born on January 8, 1947, in Willimantic, Connecticut. Raised in a dysfunctional family, Bonin's childhood was marked by neglect and abuse. His parents were alcoholics, and his father was often violent. Placed in foster care, Bonin suffered further abuse, compounding his trauma. These early experiences left deep psychological scars. As he grew older, Bonin's behavior became increasingly erratic, exhibiting signs of antisocial personality disorder. Despite early red flags, Bonin evaded significant intervention from mental health professionals. By adolescence, Bonin had begun engaging in petty crimes, hinting at the darker path he would eventually take. Understanding William Bonin's psychological background is crucial to comprehending his heinous acts. His troubled mind offers a window into the dark recesses of human behavior. Bonin's life was marked by a series of traumatic events and psychological disturbances that shaped his path toward becoming a notorious criminal. His early years were filled with instability and abuse, which laid the foundation for his later actions. Diagnosed with antisocial personality disorder and sexual sadism, Bonin's psychological makeup was a ticking time bomb. These disorders drove his need for control and domination, pushing him to commit unspeakable crimes. Antisocial personality disorder, characterized by manipulating and violating others' rights, was evident in Bonin's actions. He showed a blatant disregard for societal norms and the well-being of others. His behavior was a textbook case of this disorder, manifesting in his violent and remorseless actions. From a young age, Bonin exhibited signs of antisocial behavior. He was known to be a bully, often getting into trouble at school and with the law. His early encounters with the juvenile justice system did little to deter his escalating criminal behavior. As he grew older, his actions became more violent and calculated. His lack of remorse and inability to form genuine emotional bonds made him dangerous. This emotional detachment allowed him to commit his crimes without a second thought. Sexual sadism, deriving pleasure from inflicting pain, was key in the brutality of Bonin's murders. This sadistic streak made his crimes particularly gruesome. He derived a twisted sense of satisfaction from the suffering of his victims. The combination of these disorders created a perfect storm of violence and cruelty. Bonin's psychological profile reveals a man who was deeply disturbed, yet able to mask his true nature from those around him. Despite clear signs of psychological disturbance, Bonin maintained a facade of normalcy. He was able to hide his true nature from those around him. This ability to blend in made him even more dangerous. Bonin held jobs and interacted with society, masking his darker inclinations. He appeared to be just another face in the crowd, hiding his sinister intentions behind a mask of normalcy. This duality made him even more dangerous, blending into everyday life. His ability to appear normal while harboring such dark desires is a chilling reminder of the potential for evil in anyone. Bonin's case raises important questions about the nature of evil and the factors that contribute to such extreme behavior. His psychological profile provides insight into the mind of a killer and raises questions about identifying and treating such individuals. Understanding his background is key to preventing future tragedies. It also highlights the importance of early intervention and treatment for those showing signs of severe psychological disorders. The case of William Bonin serves as a stark reminder of the complexities of human behavior and the importance of addressing mental health issues. By studying his psychological background, we can learn valuable lessons about the warning signs and potential interventions that could prevent similar tragedies in the future. Bonin's story is a testament to the need for a comprehensive approach to mental health, one that includes early detection, intervention, and ongoing support. It underscores the importance of understanding the root causes of violent behavior and the role that psychological disorders can play in shaping an individual's actions. As we continue to explore the depths of the human mind, Bonin's case will remain a pivotal example of the intersection between mental health and criminal behavior. It is a call to action for mental health professionals, law enforcement, and society as a whole to work together in identifying and addressing the factors that contribute to such devastating outcomes. By understanding the psychological background of individuals like Bonin, we can better equip ourselves to prevent future tragedies and create a safer, more compassionate society. The lessons learned from his case are invaluable in our ongoing efforts to understand and mitigate the impact of severe psychological disorders on individuals and communities. Before becoming the highway killer, William Bonin had already begun his descent into criminality. His early criminal record was marked by increasingly violent acts. In the late 1960s, Bonin joined the U.S. Air Force, serving as an aerial gunner during the Vietnam War. Upon his return, he was arrested for sexually assaulting young boys. These early offenses indicated his predatory nature, but did not garner the attention they deserved. Bonin lured victims with promises of money or transportation, subjecting them to horrific abuse. Despite arrests and brief incarcerations, Bonin slipped through the cracks of the justice system. His early criminal activities were a warning sign that went unheeded, leading to tragic and preventable deaths. The murders committed by William Bonin were characterized by a chilling and methodical approach. Between 1979 and 1980, Bonin embarked on a killing spree along California's highways. His victims, often young males aged 12 to 19, were lured into his van. Once inside, Bonin would bind, torture, and sexually assault them before killing them. The timeline of Bonin's murders reveals escalating violence. His first known victim was found in May 1979. Over the next year, Bonin's killings became more frequent and savage. His van, equipped with tools and restraints, was a mobile torture chamber. The brutality of his actions shocked even seasoned law enforcement officers. The victims of William Bonin were young males, full of potential, whose lives were brutally cut short. Understanding their profiles adds a human face to the tragedy. One of the youngest victims, Thomas Lundgren, was just 13 years old. He was abducted while walking to a movie theater in Reseda, California. Another victim, Stephen Wells, was 18 when he encountered Bonin. Stephen had recently graduated high school and was looking forward to starting college. The profiles of Bonin's victims reveal a common thread. They were all young men, often in the prime of their lives. The loss of these young lives left a deep scar on their families and the community. The investigation into William Bonin's murders was a complex and challenging endeavor. Law enforcement faced numerous obstacles in their pursuit of the highway killer. The nature of his crimes, committed across various jurisdictions, complicated efforts to connect the dots. The investigation began in earnest when law enforcement noticed a pattern in the murders of young males along California highways. Detectives from multiple agencies began to collaborate, pooling resources and information. The involvement of the FBI was a turning point, providing crucial leads. Despite these efforts, Bonin managed to evade capture for months. His ability to blend into society made him a formidable adversary. However, the persistence of law enforcement paid off when they identified Bonin's van from witness descriptions. The efforts of law enforcement to capture William Bonin were marked by determination and collaboration. The complexity of the case required a coordinated approach. Detective Sergeant John St. John of the LAPD played a crucial role in piecing together the evidence. Collaboration with the Orange County Sheriff's Department was also vital. The pooling of resources and expertise was essential in tracking Bonin's movements. Advances in forensic techniques allowed investigators to link Bonin to the crime scenes. The successful capture of Bonin underscored the effectiveness of combining modern technology with relentless investigative efforts. Their work not only stopped a serial killer, but also highlighted the importance of interagency cooperation. The capture of William Bonin, infamously known as the highway killer, was a significant victory for law enforcement. This case had gripped the nation, with Bonin's heinous acts spreading fear and panic across multiple communities. His arrest marked a turning point in the fight against serial crime. It marked the end of a terrifying chapter and brought a moment of immense relief for the community, who had lived in fear for months. The sense of dread that had permeated daily life began to lift, replaced by a cautious optimism. Neighborhoods that had been paralyzed by fear could finally start to breathe again. Surveillance operations were key to Bonin's capture. The police had to be meticulous and patient, using every resource at their disposal. This included advanced technology, undercover operations, and the tireless efforts of officers who worked around the clock. The coordination and dedication of the law enforcement teams were nothing short of extraordinary. After identifying his van, which had become a symbol of dread, law enforcement placed him under constant watch, tracking his every move. The van, once a harbinger of terror, became the focal point of the investigation. Detectives meticulously documented its movements, hoping to catch Bonin in the act and gather irrefutable evidence. This intense surveillance paid off on June 11, 1980, when officers observed Bonin attempting to abduct another young boy. They knew they had to act quickly. The tension was palpable as officers moved in, their training and preparation culminating in this critical moment. The swift and decisive action of the police prevented another tragedy. They moved in swiftly, arresting him before he could claim another victim. The operation was executed flawlessly, ensuring no further harm. The arrest was a testament to the bravery and skill of the officers involved who risked their lives to bring a dangerous predator to justice. Upon his arrest, Bonin was charged with multiple counts of murder, kidnapping, and sexual assault. The charges reflected the gravity of his crimes. Each count represented a life shattered, a family devastated, and a community scarred. The legal process began, with prosecutors determined to ensure that Bonin would never harm another person again. The evidence against him was overwhelming, including physical evidence from his van, which linked him directly to the crimes. Forensic investigators meticulously combed through the vehicle, uncovering crucial pieces of evidence that painted a damning picture of Bonin's activities. The van, once a tool of terror, now served as a key piece in the puzzle of his conviction. Additionally, testimonies from surviving victims provided crucial insights and corroborated the physical evidence, painting a clear picture of his guilt. These brave individuals, who had endured unimaginable horrors, stood up in court to ensure that justice was served. Their testimonies were powerful and moving, leaving no doubt about Bonin's culpability. Bonin's capture and conviction brought a measure of justice to the families of his victims, who had endured unimaginable pain and loss. The courtroom became a place of both sorrow and solace, as families confronted the man who had caused them so much grief. The conviction provided a sense of closure, though the scars would remain forever. It also brought a sense of closure to the community, allowing them to begin the healing process and remember the victims with dignity and respect. Candlelight vigils and memorials became spaces for collective mourning and solidarity, as the community came together to honor those lost and support one another in the journey towards healing. The legacy of the victims would live on, a reminder of the resilience and strength of the human spirit. The case of William Bonin offers valuable insights into the psychology of serial killers and the intricate methods used by law enforcement to apprehend them. Bonin, also known as the Freeway Killer, was responsible for the deaths of at least 21 young men and boys in California during the late 1970s and early 1980s. His reign of terror left a lasting impact on the communities he targeted and posed significant challenges for the law enforcement agencies tasked with bringing him to justice. Understanding the mind of a killer like Bonin is crucial for preventing future crimes. Psychologists and criminal profilers delve deep into the backgrounds and behaviors of such individuals to uncover patterns and triggers. By examining Bonin's life, experts identified a troubled childhood marked by abuse and neglect, which likely contributed to his later violent tendencies. These early experiences, combined with his psychological disorders, created a perfect storm for his criminal behavior. Psychologists noted the presence of multiple psychological disorders, including antisocial personality disorder and sexual sadism. These evaluations help in understanding the underlying causes of such heinous acts. Bonin's lack of empathy, disregard for societal norms, and pleasure derived from others' suffering were key factors in his criminal activities. By studying these traits, psychologists can develop profiles that aid in identifying and apprehending potential offenders before they escalate to violence. These disorders drove his need for control, manipulation, and his enjoyment of inflicting pain. The meticulous nature of his crimes required a detailed and coordinated response from law enforcement. Detectives had to piece together seemingly unrelated clues, often working under immense pressure and public scrutiny. The psychological analysis of Bonin's behavior provided critical insights into his modus operandi, helping investigators predict his next moves and ultimately leading to his capture. The meticulous nature of his crimes required a detailed and coordinated response from law enforcement. Detectives had to piece together seemingly unrelated clues, often working under immense pressure and public scrutiny. The psychological analysis of Bonin's behavior provided critical insights into his modus operandi, helping investigators predict his next moves and ultimately leading to his capture. From a law enforcement perspective, the case highlighted the importance of interagency cooperation. Different police departments and agencies had to work together seamlessly to piece together the evidence. This collaboration was essential in tracking Bonin's movements, identifying his victims, and understanding the full scope of his crimes. The sharing of information and resources between agencies ensured that no detail was overlooked, and every lead was thoroughly investigated. Advances in forensic technology, such as DNA analysis and fingerprinting, played a pivotal role in building a case against Bonin. These scientific methods provided concrete evidence that linked him to the crime scenes, strengthening the case against him. The use of forensic science has since become a cornerstone of modern criminal investigations, allowing law enforcement to solve cases that would have been impossible to crack in the past. The collaboration between different police departments and agencies, and the FBI was instrumental in tracking down Bonin. The joint efforts ensured that no stone was left unturned in the pursuit of justice. The case demonstrated the power of teamwork and the importance of leveraging the strengths of various law enforcement entities to achieve a common goal. The insights gained from the Bonin case have informed modern investigative practices. Law enforcement agencies now place a greater emphasis on psychological profiling and forensic science. These tools have proven invaluable in understanding the motivations and behaviors of criminals, allowing investigators to anticipate their actions and prevent further crimes. The legacy of the Bonin case serves as a reminder of the importance of collaboration, technology, and psychological understanding in solving complex criminal cases. The lessons learned from this case continue to shape how law enforcement approaches the investigation of serial crimes, ensuring that future offenders are brought to justice swiftly and effectively. The case of William Bonin is a stark reminder of the dark capabilities of the human mind and the lengths to which law enforcement must go to protect society. It underscores the necessity of continuous advancements in forensic science, the importance of psychological insights, and the power of interagency cooperation. As we move forward, these elements will remain crucial in the ongoing battle against crime. These lessons continue to shape how law enforcement approaches the investigation of serial crimes. The legacy of the Bonin case serves as a reminder of the importance of collaboration, technology, and psychological understanding in solving complex criminal cases. The dedication and perseverance of the officers involved in the Bonin case set a precedent for future investigations, highlighting the relentless pursuit of justice that defines law enforcement's mission. The impact of William Bonin's crimes extended far beyond the immediate loss of his victims' lives. His actions left a lasting scar on the community and prompted significant changes in law enforcement practices. The community, particularly the families of the victims, experienced deep trauma and loss. Memorials and tributes were established to honor the lives lost. Law enforcement agencies learned valuable lessons from the Bonin case. The importance of interagency cooperation, the use of forensic science, and the need for comprehensive psychological profiling became clear. The legacy of the Bonin case is a more vigilant and prepared law enforcement community. The importance of vigilance, justice, and community resilience remains paramount in the ongoing effort to prevent such tragedies from occurring again.